Basically, back in the time of the Goswamis, Srila Gopal Bhatt Goswami had wanting to encourage the preaching in different parts of India, because historically it was just beginning with the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He requested 3 of the Sevite families, of those who he was engaging in worshipping his beloved deity of Radharaman, to go to different parts of East India and Bangladesh, what was now Bangladesh, was previously East Bengal, and spread the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, to 3 families, he gave Salagrama-Sila to inspire them, because of course it was pioneer preaching in those days. Mahaprabhu had inaugurated the Sankirtan movement, and then he traveled throughout South India, Vrindavan, and then settled in Jagannath Puri, and sent the Goswamis to Vrindavan for their services. So to continue the preaching, he requested, or the Goswamis, for example, later on Jiva Goswami sent Shamananda and Srinivasacharya Narottam Das Thakur to bring the books of Goswamis to devotees in Bengal. So like this, there was an expansion of the movement. And Gopal Bhatt Goswami requested these 3 families to go to what is now Bangladesh, but was previously East Bengal, and begin preaching there. So to inspire them, because they would feel so much separation from him and from Vrindavan and the beloved deities, he gave each of those families a Salagrama-Sila. And this is one of the Salagrama-Shilas which he gave to one family who settled near Shailat, which was the appearance place of Sri Chaitanya, of Sri Advaitacharya. And the family worshipped this as the principal deity there, I guess now 450 years. And when Guru Gauranga-das, at the time was a brahmachari, disciple of Bhakti Charu Maharaj, was traveling the Sankirtan party in Bangladesh in the early 1990s. They were doing a program in a village near Silat, and it was late at night, and the program had finished, and he was quite tired, but he couldn't sleep. The devotee was sleeping in a pandal, but he couldn't sleep because it was so hot. There were so many mosquitoes. So around 1 o'clock in the morning, one young man approached him, brahmachari, and asked what was the problem, and he said that he was too hot, too many mosquitoes, couldn't sleep. So he said, "Come to our ashram, and we'll take care of you, and you can have a good rest there." So he said, okay, and thinking it was just a few minutes walk, he followed that brahmachari. It turned out to be over an hour and a half into the jungle. And they came, of course it was dark, he couldn't see much, but he could see some structures, some buildings, etc. And that brahmachari kindly put him up in one of the bamboo huts there. When he woke in the morning, he was shocked to see a whole ashram, a very nice ashram, just like from Vedic days, along a picturesque, idyllic scene next to a river, and with many nicely arranged huts, accommodation, and one very beautiful stone temple. So he was fascinated and took his early morning bath. He woke up a little late because he went to bed late, and then as he went there, he heard the brahmacharis in the ashram singing different Vedic mantras and songs, Brahma Samhita, etc. When he was taking his bath, he heard the brahmacharis chanting Hare Krishna. So he understood they were Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And they told him that he could later meet the Guru. So some time went on through the morning like that, and eventually he went to the temple and he saw the Guru. The Guru was finishing his 64 rounds, and he could appreciate that this sadhu, the Guru, was a very humble soul, very extremely renounced and very devotional. And through a translator, that spiritual master was inquiring because he saw here a white sadhu, who was originally from South Africa. So the spiritual master, they said there was several hundred brahmacharis there. He was inquiring this, who are you? Where do you come from? And Guguranga spoke a little bit about Srila Prabhupada and how Srila Prabhupada had left India in the 1960s and went to America and preached the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and spread the chanting of Hare Krishna all over the world. So immediately the spiritual master, tears filled his eyes, and he said, who is this person who has spread the message of Gauranga all around the world? He said, I'm telling my disciples that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu has stated that this chanting of Hare Krishna, the name of the Lord, will go to every town and village of the world. And the sadhu and his disciples, they lived in a very isolated part of Bangladesh, which is already isolated. And there was no electricity there was no telephones, faxes, communication. So, and later Guranga learned that this sadhu had lived there his entire life. He was in his late 90s, and he practically never left the village. He was just there chanting and taking care of his disciples and preaching daily from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam. You still find isolated places like this in parts of India. So he was overwhelmed to hear that the message of Gauranga, who was his Ishtadeva, his Lord, worship of the Lord, had gone all over the world, and he was very touched by this and just amazed to see a Western Vaishnava, but knew the prediction and had faith in the prediction, so he was overwhelmed. So then the darshan, the deities were about to open, and Gurukul couldn't figure out where the altar was because all the walls were, there was just walls everywhere, there was no altar. So he said, deity greeting? Where's the deity greeting? Well, suddenly one of the walls opened up and revealed a beautiful wood and silver Sringasana. And Guru Gauranga turned to one of the brahmacharis and said, what's that? He said, well, during the times of the Hindu-Muslim riots, well, through the centuries there's been so much tension between the Hindus and the Muslims. Our forefathers feared for the protection of the deities, so they built this wall. They built the altar, and they built the wall in such a way that no one would assume that there was an altar behind there. It was very strong. So he was amazed to see this from the wall, that there's this beautiful altar, and with beautiful deities of Radha and Krishna, and 3 shalagrams sitting at the feet of the Radha Krishna deities. So he inquired, said, very beautiful deities, and the shalagrams are extraordinarily beautiful. And one of the brahmacharis said, they were very famous shalagrams. And Guru Gauranga just was inspired, he just blurted out, can I have one? The brahmacharis were shocked. What? You want one of those shalagrams? He kind of felt embarrassed with Guru Gauranga. He said, well, I just thought I'd ask. But he'd been a long time, he'd been wanting to worship a deity, a shalagram. It just came out like that. And somehow the Guru heard. And later the Guru called him in the afternoon. He said, I heard your request that you wanted one of our shalagrams. And he said, I'm going to think about it. He said, because he's a very historic deity. He said, this center deity in particular, he was, my great forefathers have worshipped him. So Guru was really embarrassed, couldn't say anything. Finally, the spiritual master called him back and said, I've thought about this for many hours, and seeing how you're a Western Vaishnava and you're the founder of your movement, took Gauranga's message to the West, and there's messages being preached all over the world. He said, I feel that Gauranga would like this deity to go to you, and you can worship him. He'll be within our line of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and this deity will go all over the world, and I've been inspired like this to give this shalagram to you.